Hi, I'm Heidi at Healing Harvest Homestead, and I'm here to show you how to make your own fruit vinegar at home. So, you know how we've all heard how healthy raw apple cider vinegar is, right? And we're told, hey, go to the store and buy the vinegar that has the mother in it. Oftentimes it's very expensive, especially certain brands that are very well known and high quality. But you can make it yourself at home for pennies on the dollar. You can use fruit, you can use the scraps of fruit, as long as you've got some kind of a fruit. Obviously, you can make apple cider vinegar with apple scraps or apples. Here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing with some cherries. You can use apricots, plums. I've made fruit vinegar out of grapes. Oh my goodness, the possibilities are endless. So if you have a farmer's market nearby and you have loads of fruit you can get a hold of, or maybe a pick yourself orchard nearby, or maybe you've got your own orchard, then you know what? One of the things you can do with your fruit is to make your own homemade vinegar. Last year, we had so many grapes last year that we ended up, utilizing them for different things. Well, one of the things we did was we had a 5-gallon food grade bucket. We actually made 5 gallons of this grape vinegar, and we still have, we probably have about 2 gallons of it left. We use a lot of raw vinegar, both in cooking and our water. Our animals use it too, so it's really, really good for you. Full of probiotics and all that. So what you want to do is you want to fill up a gallon-sized jar halfway full of your fruit and or your fruit scraps. So here I've got a jar that's half full of cherries. Okay, I'm kind of mashing them a little bit. I didn't bother pitting them, which is nice. It kind of takes a step away from you. Make sure you wash them good. But they've got pits, they've got stems. And then to a gallon, you want to put in between 1/3 and 1/2 cup of sugar. So I used 1/2 cup of raw organic sugar in my vinegar here. And you can use less if you have a high sugary fruit, like peaches, or even apples. It kind of has a little more sugar, but cherries are low sugar. I might have just said that wrong. You want to use more sugar if you're dealing with a low sugar fruit. So kind of edge up more toward the 1/2 cup range. If you're using a high sugar fruit, you can decrease your sugar a little bit. The sugar is necessary for the fermentation process to take place. If there's not enough sugar, you will get a ferment, but it'll go a lot faster and a lot easier, and be ready a lot more quickly with the sugar. The sugar gives the bacteria and yeast that are wild in the air a little natural boost. So here I'm just getting my sugar dissolved and stirred up. I like to use a wooden spoon because sometimes metal is corroded in vinegar, and obviously this is not vinegar yet, it's just water and sugar and fruit, but it will be. So let's talk about the stages it's going to go through. So after you get your sugar dissolved in your mixture here, you are going to cover your jar with 2 or 3 layers of cheesecloth, or in this case I have a paper towel and a rubber band. All right, you want to be sure that your vinegar, or your processing vinegar, is sealed off from insects, because they love this stuff. So you want to be sure little bugs can't get in there. So you just take a rubber band and a cloth and seal it up. Now you're going to let this sit for about 2 to 3 weeks. And what you're going to see is almost an inch of bubbly, beautiful, bubbles going on, live bubbles after a few days. And it's going to increase. And see how my cherries are all sitting at the bottom right now? I don't know if you can see this, the light's in my eyes, but as it ferments, these cherries are going to raise to the top of the jar. And they're going to sit there and they're going to bubble, and everything's going to be wonderful. As the fermentation process starts coming to an end, you'll notice over a period of 2 or 3, 4 days that the cherries will sink to the bottom. And that's a sign that, okay, you're getting ready to you want to get ready to strain it off, okay? And that's where we're at with this one. So one thing I want to tell you too about this part of the process, and this is really, really important, otherwise you're likely to get mold, is you want to take this off your paper or your cheesecloth covering, and you want to give this a good stir once or twice a day, especially as the cherries start rising to the top, because mold can easily get in there and get started before you have enough acid forming in the vinegar to kill it. Okay, so just do a quick stir once or twice a day, and that will alleviate that problem. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside here, and let's talk about what we've got right here. So here we have got I just love smelling it. It's so you guys can smell the vinegar fumes coming up. But here it's been probably about 3 weeks since I started this batch, and it is now ready to go ahead and be strained off. So I've got a large strainer and I've got my large pitcher here, and I am going to go ahead and pour my liquid into the pitcher through the strainer. Now, you know how you get the mother in the Bragg's raw apple cider vinegar? You're going to get a mother with this too, and that's really neat. It just shows you how healthy and good it is, right? Eventually, if you see like some floaty stuff at the bottom, some sediment, that's good. If you see a little, like they call it a vinegar SCOBY forming on top, that's good. You can stir that back in if you like, or you can just scrape it off, but that is a sign that you've got some great vinegar going on. All right, so now, obviously I didn't strain this all off yet because my pitcher is not big enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pour this. I'm gonna go get a funnel really fast. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour this liquid into my large jar. I like to use a funnel because it actually helps keep drips to a minimum. I lied. No, but it really does. It helps. This big pitcher, I have said this before, I wish the Pyrex company, and I love Pyrex, but I really wish that they would make a different lip for their large pitcher, because it tends to do this more than the other ones do. All right, so let's go ahead and keep straining. I'm going to strain this off. Look at that, just beautiful. Okay, also, I want to just talk about what I did with these other cherries over here. So these were brand new fresh cherries. These cherries over here, I actually picked them last June from our tree. And I had so many cherries, I couldn't do everything with them I wanted to do fast enough before they went bad. So I froze a bunch of them. So these cherries I'm using here are frozen and defrosted. So if you wanted to try this with frozen cherries from the store, you actually could probably do that too. So just a little tip there. I'm gonna go ahead and set this on top of there and pour a little bit more. So this vinegar, it's been fermenting for about 3 weeks. It's not quite ready to use, although we could. It definitely tastes like vinegar. The acidity level is probably not quite as high as it would be in the store. So that's okay. What I'm gonna do now with my jars of vinegar, because at this point it is a vinegar, I'm gonna use a plastic lid, okay? And I'm going to cover this with a plastic lid. So with this part of the fermentation process, you need something porous on top, because the fermentation process for vinegars requires some oxygen. But once it's vinegar and you're just going to let it sit, you want to have a top on it that's covered, all right? And you're just going to let that go, and it'll keep fermenting, and over time you're going to start seeing the mothers and the scobies and the sediment and all that good stuff that tells you that you've got a really good healthy vinegar. And this, my friend, is how you make a fruit vinegar. And you can see that the colors are going to be different depending on the fruit you use. So my raw fruit vinegar happens to be a gorgeous, gorgeous pink color. I love it. These are great to give as gifts. These are great to share with friends. A lot of people, actually some people, depending on your farmer's market, you can sell these at the farmer's market. You know, it's not expensive to make, saves you a ton of money, it's way healthier, and it's super, super, super easy. So that's all there is to it. I can use this vinegar right now if I want. I can use it in 3 months, I can use it in 6 months, I can use it in a year. It's still going to be good. So that is how you make your own raw fruit vinegars at home. Visit my website, www.healingharvesthomestead.com. I have hundreds of natural living and self-reliant articles over there for you. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love if you did that. This is a new YouTube channel and I'm just getting it going. And I'm kind of excited about it. I was a little scared at first, but now I'm like excited. So join us, and I look forward to seeing you again.